up? We are running on a Thursday edition of Sunrise Extra, flanked by two fine women.
Oh, there you go.
Brenda Braxton on this side. Christine Pitawana's on that side, turning down her phone so we don't hear what we're giving you this morning. In terms of an extra program, I think we have a fun topic today, and I know we put out a Facebook post earlier this morning about this subject. It's basically this. What was your dream job as a kid? And we're going to share some of the comments we've already received on our Facebook page this morning. But of course, we love it when you chime in with us live. So if you're watching us on YouTube this morning or checking us out through the Facebook page, let us know right now through the live stream your dream job as a kid. And you both know the inspiration for this this morning was the segment that we ran during our Sunrise TV show about the Tualatin Valley Fire and Rescue firefighter. He was the subject of a segment we call 8 Questions. And it's one of those things, you know, you, me, Christine, we didn't know this guy from Adam before the segment. Didn't know anything about him really when Chad, our photojournalist, went out there to talk with this gentleman. But you learned a lot in that brief 2 minutes. We can actually play it right now, Brian Matthews. Our director, Brian, says we can play it. So I say do it because this was really fun.
Good. My name is Will Coker, firefighter for Tualatin Valley Fire and Rescue. And welcome to Station 70. I remember being a kid back in Denver, Colorado, and there used to be a show called Emergency. Whenever the show would come on, I'd be about 7 or 8 years old, I would run through the house screaming, "Emergency, emergency," because Johnny and Roy were the greatest Americans I'd ever seen. And I never thought that I could be a 21-year veteran in this department, in this industry, and I get to be Johnny and Roy every day I come to work. The best thing that I ever had was this rice and cheese egg omelet. It was the most unique tasting dish. Like, what is a rice omelet? Best firefighter movie. Flashback. Flashback. This is where I keep my turnouts. They're pretty heavy. It takes about a minute to put them on.
All right, let's see you do it.
Okay. Favorite firefighter tool is probably the Halligan. You can use it to wedge open doors. You can use it as a leverage point. You can use it as a purchase point to make holes. Jack of all trades. Wire fire trucks, great question. Early in the 1920s, Ford made most of the vehicles in America. Most of the choices of color were either dark or darker. Firefighter crews wanted something regal. The hardest part of my job. I think would absolutely be the times that we didn't get the wins or the outcome that we wanted. And I think all of us who've ever been involved with any of those calls or any call where there's been a loss of life, we hold those calls gently. What I do is not special, right? And so when you show up with someone who's hurting, whether physical, emotional, or mental, just with a simple desire to just be with them, you instill a sense of hope. You instill a sense of connection that people feel like, okay, I think I can.
So that was a great story.
I
love hearing that gentleman.
We all love that guy.
And so that got us thinking about what was our dream job as a kid? What was your dream job as a kid? A lot of you chimed in earlier this morning on our Facebook page, including Amanda Stewart, who says, I wanted to be a pediatric nurse. But she says I ended up being an early childhood
but
teacher.
you could still use those pediatric nurse skills in daycare.
Band-Aid, please, teacher. Next up, who do we have here? We have Laura. She says, I wanted to be a marine biologist, George Costanza style, after watching the movie Jaws.
What? Really?
Wow,
You want to stay away from the water.
Where's Nina when we need her to say, you're going to need a bigger boat?
Jason says, my dream job as a boy was every boy's dream job. And he nailed it, baby. Very cool. Let's do at least one more here. We've got Sandy says, according to my drawings from first grade,
oh my gosh,
I wanted to be a grocery store checker.
Okay, yeah, Sandy.
You know, you can do that at the Children's Museum. They have the little, they have the little grocery check stand, the register, and all that stuff.
That's
it's pretty cool.
So have you taken young Patrick to the Children's Museum?
I have, and he liked the grocery check stand, and I actually was a grocery checker, and through many years of high school.
I was too. My germophobic wife, though, was so nervous about letting our kids go to the Children's Museum. Oh. She just thought, man, that many small kids with that many runny noses, that's not a good place for us.
That's how you build immunity.
It is absolutely great for the immunity. So a lot of you are weighing in on our KGW Facebook stream. Jamie Ralston says she wanted to be an Olympic ice skater, and I can barely skate.
Yeah, that's the big butt there. She could barely skate and wanted to do that. Tracy says, good morning, Tracy, watching us live right now on Facebook. I was supposed to be the Dolphins trainer at Sea Life Park in Hawaii.
That would be super cool.
I'm assuming that means it did not work out for you, Tracy. But that was a cool job.
Well, it's a very exclusive gig. I mean, there's probably about 5 of them, right?
Cecilia, I like this one. My dream job was to be a mom. I have 4 kids. Best job ever. Bravo.
That is
Still
cool.
says best job ever. Wow.
I see Dave Schmidtke is watching.
See, I don't see Dave's comment here. You're pulling it up on the Facebook?
No, I said just it informs me he's watching. We went to University of Portland, go Pilots together.
Wow. Mary says, wanted to work at the zoo, and now I do. This is on Facebook. And Jeff Lucas, Spider-Man, became an insurance agent.
J.R.
You can still be
is a funny dude.
J.R. Raven, good morning. You know, she said she wanted to be a food critic, and then she quickly follows up with, Rod, what are you eating right now?
Because this is
it smells
a
really
coworker
good.
brought this in. It's McDonald's chicken breakfast biscuit.
Chicken breakfast?
Yeah, there's not much left, so it doesn't look very appetizing.
Apparently a coworker bought a whole bag of McDonald's sandwiches and decided to distribute to
to
Rod Hill.
Yes.
To Rod Hill, yes.
Tell you what, that's the way to my heart.
Saw her coming in the door.
Last bite.
That was pretty cool. How about this? Mandy says, good morning, Mandy, watching on Facebook. I wanted to be a doctor mom, in quotes, she says. Now, I'm not an OBGYN, but I am a mom who fixed a lot of boo-boos over the years.
I bet you did. And Angela, she says, I wanted to be Wonder Woman. Who didn't,
right?
I know, right? Now I'm a stay-at-home domestics engineer, taking care of my family, volunteering, gardening, girl, quilting. You do it all.
So the comments continue to flood in, which is awesome. This is, to me, the best part of Sunrise Extra is when we can go back and forth. But I also figured maybe each and every one of you had some sort of dream job as a kid. I could tell you what mine was. I don't know if it was hardcore dream job, but I just specifically remember veterinarian from like kindergarten, first and second grades. Like when you had to come to school, I remember in kindergarten, like you had to come and be like the job you want to be, be the professional you want to be. And I came in like a white t-shirt, plain white t-shirt with a stethoscope on, a plate stethoscope, and some stuffed animal with some bandages around its legs. So I was all about the veterinarian.
That's cute.
And then, after playing the game of life, it occurred to me that, I don't know how this all came into my mind, but it occurred to me that a pediatrician, at least I thought, would make more money than a veterinarian. So then I sort of changed course there around second grade. I was like, I'm going to be a pediatrician, Mom. And then, ninth grade, chemistry happened. And I was like, whoa, this is real science? I'm out. I'm out? This is hard. This is hurting my head. How can I do my dream job if it also hurts my head? So that's when I decided I got to do something else. And before I graduated high school, I knew I wanted to do this.
Broadcasting.
Before you graduated high school.
You went into sports first, right?
Right. Sports broadcasting was the idea.
And he is our default morning sports anchor, too.
Sometimes, yes.
So
sometimes.
you're kind of doing it.
You have to tell yours because it was funny when you mentioned
Well,
it to
I went
me.
through a few because I kind of went through the cycle too. When I was younger, I wanted to be a veterinarian, and then I wanted to be a teacher. And then my mom, because I loved reading books like Nancy Drew and stuff like that, my mom was like, you're going to be a lawyer. And I was like, I'll be a lawyer. And then when I got into like my preteen, teen years, I wanted to be the equivalent of Britney Spears. I was like, I want to be on stage, I want to sing, I want to dance.
You can definitely dance.
We got stage.
Yeah, you can. Yeah,
you have
can
a
you
voice
sing?
too?
We don't know.
Show some
Can you
moves.
sing? You know you can dance.
There's auto-tune, right? No, I'm kidding. I can
Can
sing all
anybody
right.
sing anymore?
Yeah.
I'm not going to put you on the spot. There is absolutely no pressure, but this is the part of the show. We can't sing popular songs on the Sunrise TV show without having to pay a fee.
We can't
To be quite
sing?
honest with you, no, we can't like just belt out lyrics during the Sunrise TV show. without paying
yeah,
the
on
actual
TV,
song.
on TV.
But on the stream, anything goes. We can swear
Is
up
that
a
right?
storm and we can sing songs till the cows come home.
Anything goes?
Anything goes. Rod, anything goes online.
know that.
So if you ever wanted to sing for us, this would be the time. But you don't have to right now.
Let me think about
Okay.
it. Let me think of a
Okay.
song.
Okay, that's
Brenda
fine.
Braxton, what do you want to do?
Dream job. You know, I don't know. Maybe it's the boomers' fault. We like foisted all of our ambitions onto you guys. When I was little, I don't ever remember really wanting to be a certain thing. I was in college before I knew that I wanted to do TV news.
But that's got to be one of the most asked questions of a kid.
What do you want to do?
What do you want to be when you grow up?
I remember absolutely adults doing that, and I think I kind of hated it because when I was really little, I mean, it was like, okay, so I was born in '63, so this is like, there were a few things that you could be. I remember telling some rando person, I guess a friend of my parents, I want to be a nurse. I thought, I don't want to be a nurse. Why are you asking me that? I'm 6.
I can picture a sassy young Brenda Braxton saying, really?
Grow up.
Are you going to ask me that tired question again?
Can I say something?
You just don't want to grow up.
Yeah,
You were born in '63. And yet, conversation after conversation, you walk around like you're a lot younger than I am. I was born in '62.
Because she's
I'll
hip.
take every year. Yeah, you're 60. I'm like, you are older. I do that to my girlfriend. She's 3 days older than I am. I'm like, you're older.
So yeah, while you may lump you and Brenda together as one, no.
No, there's a goal.
You are her elder.
Okay. All right, where we at?
Did you always know?
Well, I mean, when I was little, I talked about being a lawyer, and I always picture myself sitting up in a big high-rise with big windows and looking out. And then at some point, I realized, oh boy, attorneys. I mean, there's a lot of paperwork, a lot of reading they have to do.
Right. And sometimes they have to
And then
leave
I
that
bailed.
office building and go into a courtroom. That can't be any fun.
Yeah.
Chris McGinnis.
Yes.
You're up.
5 years old, I knew what I wanted to do.
What?
Really?
Wow.
Which is this?
I wanted to be a meteorologist when I was 5 years old. We got cable when I was 5 years old, and I remember flipping past the Cartoon Express on USA Network to the Weather Channel because I was mesmerized by the satellite picture.
That is fascinating.
And I used to draw weather maps. Remember how they used to, do their little animations or like draw the lows and the highs? I would get out my markers and I would write like L and H and put a little cold front on it and show like the big snowstorm that never came and all that kind of stuff.
my
Yeah, by 8 years old, I was giving my family the weather report like nightly.
I hope your parents
That's
saved some of that.
Yeah.
Do you have it in the memory boxes?
The archive, some of the pics. Yeah, we gotta see if we can find some of
That's
those.
brilliant.
I literally ran
That
off.
is funny.
So at my mom's work, we got this. I was always struggling to get maps to draw on, and finally at like 9 years old, I came across this insert of an 8x11 sheet of paper that had just a blank map of the United States that I could draw on and draw my weather maps. And so I would run this off on the copy machine. I'd have like a stack of like 200. And my mom's worker was like, hey, we're going to have to start charging you for all the paper that you're using. So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
so that's a lifelong passion.
That's awesome.
Among other things.
You know, it's funny because I sometimes think about this when I watch you do what you do and I watch you do what you do. I had a buddy growing up, Tony Contando. We were like best buds in high school, and this guy loved the weather. And when we had those big storms in Philadelphia, he would, I'd go over his house. He was glued to the Weather Center, Weather Channel. He was like watching it, telling me about the fronts moving in and what's going to happen. I'm like, dude, you should be a meteorologist. Nah, I can't do that. You can do that.
At the Franklin Institute in Philadelphia, they have a whole little weather section there. I went there when I was 9, and that was super cool. I actually helped give the weather report to the meteorologists on staff.
The Franklin Institute was basically the OMSI of Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Yep.
So a lot of you are still weighing in. Bonnie Zalea, good morning, says a lawyer because I saw the good people being wronged by the bad. I never became a lawyer. My life took a different path, but I just advocate wherever possible. Good for you. Sophie Summers says my dream job was to be an architect. At 38 years old, I quit my 20-year career and started a construction company. And let's see, and now my company produces home plans. And I'm building homes from the ground up.
That's awesome.
Wow, that is sweet. Yeah.
These next two comments have nothing to do with the topic at hand, but I think, Brenda, you should read Mary's comment followed by Jamie's comment. They're nice.
Let's see. Oh, Mary says you guys look great.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very
and
much.
Jamie says, you all are the best newscast ever. Have a wonderful day.
Can we
So
just pin that to
sweet.
the top of the KGW Facebook page?
Let's do that.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate your considerate thoughts on
Yes.
this Thursday morning.
Intelligent. Very intelligent.
How many of you now that it takes a while to really get, immersed and developed in your career
Yes.
and get the
totally.
advancements and
Yeah.
whatnot.
Yeah.
But surely, we're not in this little box. We all have other interests. Like
Like golf.
There's a,
right?
well, And hobbies. Rod's actually a really good stick, though.
Are you asking
golfer.
like, what would be our job now if we
Yeah,
could?
I mean, like, there's times like I like all these house projects around my house. Like, I kind of want to go back and start building stuff and learn how to do it the right way.
Your father is an amazing carpenter.
He's a woodworker and wood finishing. Yeah, it's been actually in my family for like 5 generations. But you know, the other thing I thought is like law. Like, I took a law class in 9th grade and I was fascinated by it. Not that I want to be a lawyer, but I mean, it's like.
So, like, what fascinates you, and could you see yourself kind of going down?
Yeah,
Like the road?
So I always joked because, you know, I'm a lifelong newscaster, and, you know, it's a little bit different now. We're getting away from the, you know, if it bleeds, it leads kind of mantra.
Thankfully.
And we're doing more stuff in the community. But I joked for a long time. I'm like, my God, if I could do something else, I'd be an interior designer, so I could be, you know, surrounded by beauty and art instead of rape and murder. And like it's like 180 degrees from what we do.
Right.
But I love home decor. I wish I knew how to sew, so you could like design
to learn how to
things
sew.
and. Yeah.
We're finishing our basement. Would you like to come give us some designs,
There you
some
go.
ideas? Like
Little practice
I
run.
can paint. Can help with that.
I loved this comment by Faith watching us this morning on Facebook. Faith Faddis on Facebook. Hey, Faith. She says, I wanted to work at Subway. Hey, I was being realistic. Now she says, I'm a nurse because I'm still realistic. That's pretty funny.
Well, that's not easy to be an RN, to be a nurse. Wow.
Jeff Lucas says, I'd like to be a sports agent.
Yeah.
That.
For Patrick Mahomes.
You know, along the lines that you were talking about, Chris, so you want to get into woodworking? You were interested in that?
Well, it's just
you
like
said?
like that or building. Like, I was really inspired by the gentleman that said, "Hey, now I build homes from scratch." I had a retired uncle now who used to build.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's fun because we have an old house and we're like fixing stuff, and I'm like, no, I want to build new.
That makes me think about, like, in college, I loved classes on ancient history. So, like, being an archaeologist would be so cool. Like, trying to unearth, you know, things from the past and stuff. And if I had the mind for it, because I'm not that math oriented, I will say, being an astronomer would be super cool, like a physicist, like an astrophysicist.
Yes.
Oh, I love that
Would you,
stuff.
given the opportunity to say, hey, NASA's running a contest for local media, and you can enter to win the chance to fly up to the space station and be a part of our next mission, would you be interested in a flight into space? Because I would not be.
I would
So
not be
long
either.
as it happened many times,
do you mean?
and no one died.
Before
You know
yours.
what I mean?
Okay.
Like,
be
Oh, if you were given
guinea pig.
like
assurances.
depending on what it was.
Yeah.
Like, are you talking about the International Space Station or just into space?
Let's just say a generic flight into space. You're going to be on the next mission to attempt to land on the moon.
Maybe not that.
No, I would be.
As I
would do
think
that.
more
You would?
about that,
How
I
many
would
times
be
have we landed on the
frightened.
moon?
I don't want to go to Mars. That's a little too far. But I would go to the moon and back.
I'd
That
go
is
up
funny that
there.
you're basing it on distance.
terrible.
I think it all sounds pretty damn far to me.
Well, he's gonna be a year older when he comes back from Mars, right? Doesn't it take like a year to get to Mars? We
That's
figured
way
that
too
out.
far. I
Like,
know that.
I used to lay in bed when I was little, like low elementary school, maybe first, second grade, and I would stay up wondering about space. I would think to myself, why is space expanding? How is it expanding? What is it expanding into? And it would keep me up. I would just lay there in bed and think about these things.
I love to read about anything that has to do with space, and I feel like I can kind of
Sorta.
get some of those concepts when I'm reading, and then I'm like trying to tell somebody else, and it's like
Never mind.
zips right out of my head. It's so complicated,
Yeah.
but so fascinating.
Yeah.
So Roberta says, I was sure when I was a kid I was going to be a fashion designer. I drew catalogs full of clothes.
Oh, that's so cool.
And when I got old enough to learn to sew, I hated it.
Wow.
I really just like to draw. Today I'm a cake decorator.
That is so cool.
Where do you
Oh my
work?
God. Yeah, we want to
That's a
know. Gotta
fabulous
visit
skill.
you. Kieran, good morning. My dream job, Kieran says, I would love to work at a TV station.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Well, I know a few people in that
Yeah,
business.
just a couple.
You know, if I had a dream job, it would be in the movie industry. Like, that was always kind of I got into TV because I thought it'd be fun and cool, and it has been at times.
Yeah.
Right.
But I also thought even cooler than that, the next step up would be like Hollywood, making motion pictures, like writing the screenplays and then being part of the movie making process. But that seems so work.
So I would.
It seems like so much work.
Well, to come up with a good
Yeah.
screenplay,
Do you
you
know
gotta be a good
how
writer.
long they? Or the
Right.
the
Yeah.
screenplays. That's one thing, and then the actual 75 takes of did I drink my coffee just right for because
Great.
they have the time to be perfect.
Yeah.
So they want to be perfect.
That is the most nerve-wracking thing, though. I mean, I've only done those little bit parts on like Grimm.
Sure, but that was legit. I mean, that was the real Hollywood deal, in my opinion.
No. Do you have any skits that took like, you had 2 lines and yet you were there for 8 hours because
Yeah, it
something
was
had to be
always
just
kind
right?
of a full like day or
work?
half day or night or whatever. And they're amazing. I mean, they would flub up too, but I was just like, I'm not that uninhibited. Like when it's not my environment,
Right.
I was just like, oh gosh, I just could see everybody looking at me, all the crew, and it was like my little heart was pounding. I could never be an actress.
Right, you're constantly thinking about what are these people watching me thinking of me right now?
Yeah.
And then I just will freeze sometimes. I don't even know how I got through that. It was super fun. They were super nice, but that was nerve-wracking.
That's fascinating.
This isn't nerve-wracking to me.
Wow.
Wouldn't it be
TV's
cool,
not
though?
nerve-wracking when I'm anchoring.
Was it in the beginning though?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, after years of doing it,
So
you
then
get
it's
comfortable.
reps. What is it? You need to spend 10,000 hours doing something before you're like the expert or whatever?
You master it.
The master.
It would be cool, whatever you do, it would be cool to walk away from that thing, whenever that time may be, and leave something that like lives really forever. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I always think if I'm going to make a movie, I want to make that movie that people are talking about 30 years later.
Yeah.
You know, that lives in like, geez.
Star Wars.
That's a great example. The Wizard of Oz. Sometimes I see The Wizard of Oz, I said, we are still watching this movie today, and it's now like 80 years old. There's no way in heck when they put that on the screen back then that they thought, people in the year 2020 will watch this for the first time and still fall in love with it. Like, to leave something.
Pretty incredible.
Yeah, that
the
is
legacy.
incredible.
Then I think, geez, shouldn't that thing be like finding an ultimate cure for cancer? Maybe that'd be the better thing to leave and walk away from. But
They're
something,
working on it.
Whatever
it's
you
true.
do, it'd be great to walk away from that career, leaving something behind that lives on for decades.
No, I agree. Oh, let's
Anyways,
see.
deep
Melinda
thought.
Robin, real quick. Last one. I wanted to be a teacher, and now I am a preschool teacher for Head Start.
Good for
I
her.
love kids.
Very
Yeah.
cool.
I love people who work with kids.
But Bill Gates comes to mind, Drew. I mean, the people that had a hand, the original pioneers of what we now know as the internet.
Right.
That's amazing. Their footprint in history is amazing.
And the fact of the matter is we are making, just since I brought up, great strides in terms of cancer research. And you think about all those money and the time that went into it, and we are finding cures for certain diseases that we didn't think were possible 10, 15, 20 years ago. So thank you to those people that do that work.
Absolutely.
We are going to close it down. We're going to shut down the Sunrise Extra Curtain on this Thursday.
This was really fun.
It was fun.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Can we close it out with some Whitney Houston?
Oh, I know.
We're going to close it out with this jam.
Hall
This
of
is
Fame
the.
has new inductees
that's
for
right.
2020.
Yeah.
So we
And-
got to play some of that music during the sunrise.
Everybody but you was dancing.
Yeah.
You know what? This is
We were
my
listening
jam
to
right
the
here.
Notorious
The Sunrise
B.I.G.
Extra Jam, Brenda.
Come on, Director Brian, give me a little something before we go.
I don't know, we'll
Who's
see.
that
Something.
stock music? Can you do it?
It's gone.
He
He
said,
says
no.
it's gone.
Sunrise Extra theme song
okay.
lives on.